Hello everyone and welcome to Stan the Wine Man TV. I am your host, Stan Rattan, and this is a blue-collar wine show where I help you spend your wine dollars wisely. Another blind episode. I know got quite a few comments. You guys like the blind episodes. I try to do as many as I can. And this one is going to be with Bonarda. How many of you out there are familiar with Bonarda? Now, I've liked Bonarda for a long time, but sometimes it slips off my radar. And at work not too long ago, one of the sales reps, shout out to KC, again, brought a Bonarda by. And I go, oh man, this is so cool. I have to do a blind Bonarda tasting. What is Bonarda? This is a really cool fact. It is the second most planted grape in Argentina to Malbec. That's crazy. So, like 450,000 acres are devoted to the vines of Bonarda. It is called Charbono in Napa in California, where they don't grow nearly that much. In fact, it's dwindled more and more and more. But Charbono and Bonarda are the same grape, not to be confused with Bonarda Piemontese in northern Italy. Not the same grape, but the same first name, which is really interesting. You wonder why people get so confused in the wine world. It can be a tough thing. But don't let all those little details confuse you. Just know what you like. That's the key. And also try new things. Always try new things. So Bonarda, second most planted grape in Argentina. That's where you're going to find most of your Bonardas at a fairly reasonable price. Some not so much, but they're starting to get serious about Bonarda. It used to be just kind of a table one they threw out there in a bulk way, you know, kind of just, this was an everyday red. Well, now they're, you know, some of these winemakers are getting just a touch more serious about this grape. It's a little higher in acidity, good fruit, lighter weight, style, not as strong in the tannins. It's a late picked grape. It's a late harvest grape because it takes it a little longer to ripen on the vines. That might be all you need to know about Bonarda. But look for it in the Argentinian wine section. If you haven't tried one yet, I'd encourage you to do so. They are very good, and a lot of times they are fairly reasonably priced, which is really what we're after, right? We don't want to spend a ton of money every day on wine. Actually, it originated in Savoie, France. That's where it came from. And how it got over here, you know, that's anybody's guess. And how it ended up in Argentina, well, the Italians maybe. Yeah, absolutely. All right, let's get started right off the bat with number one. Marker ready right here. I'm jazzed about this. I like Bonarda. I've had many good ones in the past, and I need to focus on that at the store. You can tell this one's dark right off the bat. Well, not. So it is dark. It reminds me of kind of the color of maybe a Merlot. But yeah, you can see it's a really reddish color. Really on the red side. Let's see what we get on the nose. You can smell spice on the nose right off the bat. I'm getting a little boysenberry and plum. Yeah, I'd say boysenberry plum, even a little bit of red flower coming through. Getting a little tar action, like a, like a cross between tar and caramel, if that makes any sense to you at all. That's kind of what it reminds me of. There's a touch of black raspberry there too. Let's see what we get on the palate. A little smokiness on the palate, spicy on the finish, a little black olive coming through with the plum and boysenberry notes and red flowers. Really smooth on the palate, spicy on the back end. I like that. That's why I like Grenache, by the way. Grenache can be really spicy, excuse me, which is kind of cool. The tannins they're structured, a little chalkiness on the backside, but overall pretty smooth. I'm even getting hints of licorice and maybe just a touch of bittersweet chocolate. Interesting wine. I like this one. Not super complex. It's not a complex wine. This has some complexity. I'm curious about the price on this one. But we are going to give it a... Okay. I didn't get any comments about maybe being a little tougher on the wines yet. Yeah, maybe everybody thinks you're doing just fine. Maybe you guys think I'm doing just fine. Yeah, this is a real crowd pleaser. You can get the acidity in the background. Definitely acidity coming through. But there's enough fruit there, kind of balances it out. Nice integration. I like it. Let's move on. Whoa. Number two. Wings. I'm curious how many of you out there watching this video have actually, watching this episode, have had Bonarda. I would like to know. And do you have a favorite? Let me know. Again, this one's a little darker than the first one. Not quite as red, going into hewing into the purple side. Let's see what we get on the nose. Well, this has some cinnamon action on it, which is really cool. A little bark, like somebody sprinkled some cinnamon on a piece of bark. Definitely a boysenberry, kind of blackberry. Even little whiffs of chocolate as well. I really like the aromatics on this wine. It's really cool. Let's see what we get on the palate. Ooh. That's got some serious acidity. In fact, almost too much. Now, with food, that might change it up just a little bit. So I'm going to be fair. This is a high acid wine. When you read about Bonarda and say, well, it's got higher acid, this nails it as far as that goes. In fact, this is the most acidic Bonarda I've ever tasted. A little bit of orange peel coming through. There's some underripe blackberry, underripe plum notes coming through. Yeah, with that kind of orange peel thing. You get the picture. This is high acid. Maybe with the cheeseburger with a little bacon, this might be just fine. But this is no way in the world you're going to drink this by itself. I'd call this a Jimi Hendrix wine. High in acid. I'm a big fan of Jimi Hendrix, but I think he was known for doing acid, which is too bad because he might have been around a lot longer. I don't like, it's out of balance a little bit in the acid side. There's not enough fruit. It almost goes to the green side, you know, a little vegetal thing on the back side. Yeah, you just can't get past the acidity. I mean, it's overpowering. Little tea notes. It's not terrible. Like I said, if you had it with food, it'd be pretty good. But overall, I think it's just really acidic. And it has some complexity, has some interesting notes to it. But overall, I think you just can't get past the acid. Same. Yeah. Okay. Let's move on. Here we go. We're cooking right along. Number 3. I have to rinse the acid out of the glass. I know acidic wines they have their place, especially like I said when you're having like food, but you like to see a little bit more going on than just acid. I do, anyway. I have a few friends that might love that one. I'm just saying. I have some friends that are acid freaks, just so you know. This is a dark. This is the darkest of the bunch so far. There you go. This is the first episode where I have my heater going on. It's getting cool out here in the studio. This has definitely some earth bark. This one leans more towards a plum cherry versus plum blackberry. Some darker red flower notes coming through. Very earthy, a little bit of smoke on this one as well, which Bonarda can at times be smoky. Let's see what we get on the palate. Now, see, this is acidic as well, but it has that nice cherry plum notes that kind of balance that out. It is higher in acid. Again, this is not, the first one would be the one I'd say, yeah, you could probably drink it by itself. These other two need food. Definitely number 2. Number 3, maybe, you know, a snack or two. This might be pretty good. Have a piece of bacon. Go with this one. So a good core of acidity with almost kind of dark red cherry notes. Plum, a little underripe on the plum side. You get the earthiness underneath. Definitely. Tannins are sturdy, but they're approachable. The spiciest one was number 1. This one has a little bit, but not as much. I like this one. This one also has a little bit of a green-black tea thing going on the finish, which is interesting. All right. Let's move on. Number 4. So far, I'm not super excited about any of these, which is number 4. First one, maybe the most. I like that spiciness on the backside of that one. That second one, man, acid, acid, acid all day. You know, I haven't tasted Bonarda like all together like this in a while. I've read that they're acidic. I've had some Bonardas that were not quite on the high acid side. These definitely are, so far have gone there. Again, a dark red heading towards black on this one. Might be the darkest one of the bunch. Let's see what we get on the nose. Now you see this has some ripe boysenberry and cherry notes. This is the ripest of the nose. You know, you really get some really ripened fruit. Definitely some plum action. Cherries and boysenberry, just a kiss of licorice. A kiss of licorice. I love using that term kiss. I don't know why. Wasn't a big Kiss fan growing up. You know. Okay, I won't quit my day job. Just saying. Let's see what we get on the palate. Again, high acid. But, it has enough elements. This is the most interesting of the bunch so far, the most complex. You have earth notes underneath. You have cherry, plum, underripe blackberry in there. And you know, when I was a kid, I used to eat blackberries that had a little bit of green on them. I just like that. So I do have sort of a little bit of an affection for acidic wines. It's not as over the top. This has nice, almost like, the word lava came up for that. I don't know why. The licorice notes hit on the mid palate into the finish. Finishes almost crunchy, you know, with that acidity, but it has the fruit. So you have a good combination of fruit, acid. The tannins are very approachable on this, not super strong. It doesn't go tart on you, but it definitely has crunchy tannins from the acidity. Yeah, and the licorice notes kind of linger on the backside. And I'm talking black vine licorice. I mean, it's just got that nice licorice flavor, maybe with a little red licorice thrown in the mix. You know what I'm saying? I'm even getting a little pop, just a little pop of meat marinade on the, which would be umami sort of thing, on the mid palate into the finish. I like this wine a lot. You get the idea of what Bonarda is about acid. Now, you guys, I would say all of these wines need fruit. Maybe number 1, not as much, but definitely food would be a requirement with Bonarda, which doesn't surprise me. Argentina is famous for their beef, and these would be all good with a really nice piece of steak. So let's line these up. Okay. Here, I always like this unveiling part, it's kind of cool. In last place with a C, just a straight up C. I thought it was average. I don't think it had any flaws. I think if you had it with food, it'd be a lot better than it is. But it really was just solid acid. I mean, it was just a very acidic wine without a lot of things in it to make it kind of round it out. So in last place, or in fourth place, with a C minus, a straight up C, is the Passionate Wine Revolutionary Bonarda 2019 Mendoza, Argentina. Rolls in at $17. Now my friends, that is a pass. Unless you really like acid. If you love acidic wines, if that's your jam, then you go for it. But $17 for that, I'm sorry, not going there. And I uncorked these a little bit early. These were uncorked, I should say, these were uncorked early, then bagged. My wife bagged them up and we changed the corks around. So, and I'm really not familiar with any of these wines, just telling you. In third place with a straight up B minus. So I almost went C plus. So, but this one had acidity as well. It wasn't as acid as that one. And let's see what we got. With a B minus, we go with the Duraguti 2019 Duraguti Bonarda, Argentina. This rolls in at $17 as well. I would go with this one before that one. This one I thought had a little bit more going on, and like once again, if you did a blue cheeseburger with bacon or something like that, these would be perfect. Or a pizza, just put it there. In second place with a B minus B is the La Posta Armando Bonarda from Mendoza, Argentina, and this one rolls in at $13. And I believe this probably is a case price. Some of these have better pricing on the case, but I think this would be a case price. I thought that, $13, that's a good value wine. I thought it had the acidity, but it also had the nice fruit to back up that acidity, which rounded it out. In first place with a B plus is the, this doesn't surprise me, Bodega Benito's Nicolas Catania. Catania is a very famous wine producing family in Argentina. La Marchigiana Vino Natural Ancestral Bonarda. It's a mouthful. Now this one rolls in at $30. I'm somewhat familiar with this one a little bit. They use amphora vessels to age it. It's a natural wine. So it has no sulfites, probably has some, but they don't add any sulfites to it. It's done in a natural way. I like this wine. I thought it had all the elements, all the complexity. Now it doesn't surprise me that it's Catania wine at all, because they are a very well-known wine producing family in Argentina. So there you go. Most expensive one came in first. I don't always like that. I would like it if the lower price, but the $13 one, if you want just to try Bonarda and see what it's all about, make sure you have some food. Don't just uncork it and pour it. I recommend you have food with Bonarda. Piece of meat would be fine. I'm sure they drink Bonarda with their steaks in Argentina. Thanks for taking a little time in our day. I really appreciate you doing that. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Tell your friends about this channel. If you're enjoying these episodes, spread the word so that more people can enjoy learning how to spend their wine dollars wisely. You keep watching, and I'll keep helping you spend your wine dollars wisely.